He played Batman. He flew fighter jets. He became Jim Morrison. But behind those iconic roles was a man carrying a wound that never healed. Val Kilmer's life was never just about fame. Behind the Hollywood smile was a soul shaped by tragedy, and that pain echoed through his greatest performances. One of them nearly broke him. Let's take a closer look at 5 unforgettable roles that didn't just define Kilmer's career. They told the story of a complicated, brilliant, and wounded man. And if you think you've seen everything he had to offer, wait till you hear what happened behind the scenes of his most haunting role. Stick around till the end, because one of these performances revealed more about Val than any interview ever could. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you won't miss our new videos. It starts in the sky. Top Gun, a film that defined a generation and turned Tom Cruise into a star. But even Cruise had to share the spotlight with the man who played Iceman. Val Kilmer's Tom Iceman Kazansky wasn't just another rival pilot. He was smooth, sharp, and confident, almost too confident. The tension between him and Maverick wasn't all acting. In fact, Kilmer later admitted he tried to keep his distance from Cruise during filming to maintain that competitive edge. And it worked. Audiences loved the friction. Kilmer's Iceman had only a fraction of the screen time, but he became a fan favorite. Cold, calculated, unshakable. But what no one saw was that Kilmer didn't even want to take the role. He felt the script was shallow, but his agent convinced him to go, just in case. That just in case turned into one of the most iconic supporting roles of the 80s. Now here's a question for you. Do you think Iceman was actually the better pilot? Or was Maverick the true ace? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're ready for a dogfight. But let's shift gears from jets to rock and roll. In 1991, Kilmer transformed into the Lizard King himself, Jim Morrison in The Doors. This wasn't just an impersonation. This was a resurrection. Kilmer did something few actors ever attempt. He sang all the vocals himself. Most people assumed it was Morrison's voice dubbed over, but it was Val all along. He trained for months, listened to hours of tapes, and even learned how to move like Morrison. The band members themselves were stunned. They said he became Jim. The performance was raw, hypnotic, and at times, dangerously real. Director Oliver Stone reportedly had to pull Kilmer back during certain scenes, worried he'd taken things too far. That line between acting and becoming the role, Kilmer blurred it completely. But it wasn't just about getting the walk or the voice right. Kilmer tapped into something deeper, Morrison's tortured soul. And maybe that's why the performance hit so hard. Because Kilmer himself wasn't a stranger to darkness. That darkness would come to the surface just a few years later, in the Salton Sea. This 2002 crime drama isn't as famous as Kilmer's blockbusters, but many consider it his most personal and emotionally devastating role. He plays Danny Parker, a man destroyed by the loss of his wife, spiraling through a double life of drugs, deception, and grief. But what makes this performance hit differently is that Kilmer wasn't acting. At 17, Val Kilmer lost his younger brother Wesley in a tragic drowning accident. They were inseparable. Wesley was a genius, an aspiring filmmaker who once said Val was the better actor. When Wesley died, Val shattered. He rarely spoke of it, but that pain lived in him. The Salton Sea was his way of bleeding that grief onto the screen. It wasn't just a character, it was his mirror. And when you watch him in those scenes of despair, you're not watching fiction. You're watching a man mourn what he never got back. Have you ever watched a film and felt like the actor wasn't acting at all? Like they were showing their true self? Which performance comes to mind? Share it in the comments. Let's talk about those moments that broke the fourth wall emotionally. Next stop, Tombstone. In 1993, Kilmer stepped into the dusty boots of Doc Holliday. And if Top Gun made him cool, Tombstone made him legendary. Doc was sick, tuberculosis, sweating, coughing, dying. But Kilmer's portrayal was anything but weak. He was magnetic, witty, dangerous. He stole every single scene. And in a movie packed with tough guys and gunfights, that's saying something. His famous line, "I'm your Huckleberry," delivered with a wink and a drawl, it became pop culture gold. But here's the kicker. Kilmer was seriously ill during parts of filming. He poured himself into the role, pushing through discomfort, determined to make Doc Holliday unforgettable. And he did. Critics called it one of the finest Western performances ever, not just for the swagger, but for the pain beneath it. A dying man with nothing to lose, played by an actor who knew how it felt to carry silent suffering. And then there was the cape, Batman Forever. Stepping into the suit wasn't easy. Michael Keaton had already made the role his own. Expectations were sky high. Kilmer's Batman was different, more restrained, more introspective. But behind the mask, he was miserable. The suit was so rigid he could barely move or hear. He described the experience as isolating, cut off from the world, trapped in rubber armor. He didn't return for a sequel, not because he was fired, but because he didn't want to come back. He said the character had no soul, just gadgets and grunts, and Kilmer was always chasing something deeper. Still, the role mattered. It cemented him as a true Hollywood leading man. And for many fans, he was their Batman, quiet, brooding, and noble. And maybe that's what defines Val Kilmer best. He wasn't chasing stardom, he was chasing truth. Every role was a puzzle piece, together forming the portrait of a man few truly understood. In the end, it wasn't the fame, the box office, or even the costumes that made Kilmer great. It was the vulnerability, the willingness to hurt, to expose, to become. He once said, "I'm an actor. I give myself to roles completely." And he did. From the skies of Top Gun, to the dusty streets of Tombstone, to the haunted depths of the Salton Sea, Val Kilmer didn't just play characters, he gave them his soul. Subscribe to the Bold Fact Files channel, turn on the notifications, and you won't miss our new videos.